everyone, and welcome to Classic Gamer 74. I'm your host, Anthony Gamer, and welcome to episode 82, Asterix Games. So before we get started, here's a little background information about Asterix. Asterix, or The Adventures of Asterix, is a series of French comics. The first series appeared in the Franco-Belgian comics magazine Pilote on October 29, 1959. It was written by René Goscinny and illustrated by Albert Uderzo until the death of Goscinny in 1977. Uderzo then took over the right until 2009, and now, as of 2013, a new team of Genvez Ferry, who wrote the scripts, and Didier Conrad took over. So believe it or not, it has been around for over 60 years, making it the longest-running comic series in the world. Okay, so what's the story? Well, basically, Asterix is a comic series set in the year 50 BC. At this time, the Roman Empire has conquered almost all of the known world, except one small village in Gaul, which is now modern-day called France. This small village is able to hold off the Romans because of the help of a special potion that was made by their town druid known as Getafix. Asterix and Obelix, his best friend, are the main characters of this series. Asterix has become a worldwide phenomenon in just about every country in the world except the United States. There have been toys, games, pretty much everything that they could put the name Asterix on, including several films, many of them animated, and a few live action. They even have their own amusement park in Paris called Parc Asterix. If any of you have been there, I'd like to know about it. And of course, anything that was big gets made into video games, and that is what we're going to talk about today. And to help us out today, live via satellite from Gaul, we have three of the stars of the Asterix comics. Gentlemen, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourselves?
Hello, I am Getafix. I am the village druid, the creator of the magic potion that gives the Gauls the strength of 10 men. I am also a creator of many herbs and healing potions, and I am the chief advisor to the town chieftain Vital Statistics, who doesn't listen to a word I say. Hello, my name is Obelix. I am Asterix's best friend. I am also a miniature sculptor and delivery man. I am single at the moment. I love to hunt and eat wild boars. My dog's name is Dogmatix, and I am not allowed to drink any of the magic potion because I fell into the cauldron when I was a baby, and now I have permanently the strength of 100 men.
Hello everyone, I am Asterix. I am the village hero and the main protagonist of the story. My best friend is Obelix, and I enjoy beating up Romans.
Oh, I forgot to mention that too, Asterix. I really do like to beat up Romans.
Well, thank you. And I enjoy going on adventures with my best friend Obelix and our dog friend Dogmatix.
He forgot to mention that sometimes Asterix thinks he's the voice of reason because he says I'm impulsive.
Well, you can be impulsive sometimes, Obelix. Sometimes you just like to thrash the Romans, and perhaps there's ways to negotiate.
Oh, there's no negotiating with the Romans, Asterix. I just like to pound them, and I like to thrash them, and see how far I can throw them.
Gentlemen.
Yes.
Are you guys ready to start?
Oh, yes. By all means, Anthony. Let's talk about the games. We can settle this later, Asterix.
There's nothing to settle. We're ready to start whenever you are, Anthony. First game we're going to talk about today is the Atari 2600 game called Asterix. It was released in 1983 and was programmed by Steve Wota and the graphics by Jerome Dumorat. Now, in this particular game, you take on the role of me, Asterix, as represented by that helmet with the feathers in it, like you usually see me wearing. You are trying to catch the lamps, shields, cauldrons, and avoid Cacophonix's lyre.
So I got to be in the game at all, Asterix?
Well, yes, a few levels in, you get to take on the role, and you are trying to collect different types of food.
Oh boy, I like this game.
Well, if you happen to live in North America, this game is quite rare, as it was actually made exclusively in Europe. And if you would like to get a copy of the game yourself, be ready to spend a couple $100 on it.
Oh boy, we're collector's items. That means we're famous, Asterix. Same year, they put out my own video game, Obelix, and this game was released for the Atari 2600. It was programmed by Suki Lee. Dave Jolly did the graphics. Anthony Folks and Jeff Gassman did the sound. Anyway, the game is about, you control Asterix. Wait a minute, I thought the game was about me. Why do you control Asterix in the game?
Just keep reading, Obelix. Remember, it's both of us.
Oh yeah, you control Asterix and you stun the Roman soldiers. Obelix, that's me, is at the top of the screen carrying a miniature. That's what I do. I'm a miniature delivery man. For those of you that don't know, a miniature is a very large rock. Continuing on, and it is his job to drop it on the stunned soldiers. Sometimes Obelix can't drop the stone in time, and the soldier turns red and comes for after Asterix. And also sometimes Asterix needs to be careful and move out of the way and not get squished by the giant rock.
That's true. Keep reading, Obelix.
Occasionally, Getafix appears and drops a magic potion for Asterix to stop the red soldiers, which is the only way to do it. Of course, he doesn't give me any of the potion.
No, Obelix, you can't have any of the potion. You fell into the cauldron when you were a baby.
Oh, yeah, I know that. Anyway, you have 5 levels in each play separately, and you can get to each level by moving up the bridge. Those are those little red squares you see there. So that is the game, and much like the Asterix game, this game is quite rare in North America and is extremely collectible. However, it was readily available and very popular in other parts of the world, particularly in France. I mean Gaul, where we're from.
Alright, and next up from 1992, we have Asterix, the arcade game, by Konami. And this is your typical action fighting game similar to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or The Simpsons from that time period. As you would expect, Obelix and I walk through Gaul and just do what we do best, beat up Roman soldiers. There's some really cool bosses, a few side missions, and all kinds of fun stuff to do. So check this game out if you can, as it is readily available to be played on MAME. Next up we have Asterix from 1993. This was released for the NES, and an identical version was released for the Game Boy. In this particular game, Obelix has been kidnapped by the Romans. Wait a minute, how did that happen? How in the heck did I get kidnapped by the Romans? It'd take the whole Roman army to take me down. Right, Asterix? Well, actually, Obelix, in this game you were sleeping after eating a whole bunch of wild boars, and therefore the Romans took you. Oh, alright then. So anyway, this game was released for the NES, as you are looking at right here.
I'm afraid I must be going on now to go back to the village and make more of the magic potion, so I will take my leave. Good luck with the rest of the episode, Anthony. Thank you for stopping by, Getafix. Since Getafix just left, I'd be more than happy to fill in for him. Oh, okay, Mumford. Thank you for stopping by. Much obliged.
Next up, we have a game from 1995 that really stands out amongst all the other Asterix games that came before and those that came after. That is Asterix Caesar's Challenge. It's kind of like an interactive board game, and it was made for MS-DOS. It is very similar to Game of Life. You have to get 6 treasures from around the world, or Caesar will take over your village. Help is available along the way, such as Getafix and a few other people. It's a very educational, as you must know a lot about world history. Paying attention in that class will really help you out. There's lots of cool puzzles and other side games to play.
Yeah, I really like this game myself. I played it a couple times with Anthony. As a matter of fact, if you'd like to go to our Patreon page, you can see me and Anthony play the game from beginning to end. And I'll tell you, every time I play this game, I always pick Asterix. And you know why?
Why is that?
Because every time I pick Fatty there, I always end up losing. Oh, Asterix, he called me Fatty.
Next up, from 1999, we have Asterix and Obelix. This was created for the Game Boy Color, and it features us doing what else? Walking around, beating the crap out of the Romans.
Oh boy, this is a fun game, Asterix. It's so much fun, I think I'm gonna go out and pick a fight with a Roman right now.
And the next game is one that truly brought Asterix into the 21st century, and that is
Asterix, we live in 50 BC. Why do we want to go to the 21st century already?
Never mind, Obelix, I'll explain it later. Anyway, this game is called Asterix Mega Madness for the PlayStation 1. Now, this is an Olympic-style game. It's a Gaulish Olympic Games, if you'll have. And in this particular event that you have here is shoot and score. And what you're doing is using this giant crossbow thing and some very interesting ammunition and trying to shoot your opponents who have identical devices, and you're trying to hit them and not get hit yourself. And of course, what you're doing here is also trying to shoot the Romans who just happen to get in the way. And the next event we have is Recipe Run. You're trying to be the first one to get all the ingredients to make the magic potion.
No, I don't like this event, Asterix, because I'll never get to have any of the magic potion.
Well, don't forget, Obelix, you did fall into the magic potion when you were a baby, so it's made a permanent impact on you.
I don't care, I still would like to have some every once in a while.
Anyway, while you're looking for the ingredients, feel free to bash the Romans, but look out for those dangerous wild boars.
And the last original event is my favorite, Asterix. That is Food Feet. And you're trying to eat as much food as you can, but you got to watch out for other people who try to steal yours. Now, there are lots of other events that you unlock as you master these ones. So go for it and see what events you can unlock.
The next three games we have are for the Nintendo DS. And the first one here is Asterix at the Olympic Games, which is a tie-in to a live-action movie that we made.
What does live action mean, Asterix?
Well, that is where they had some actors playing us.
Really? Oh, it really shows how famous we are, Asterix, that we have people pretending to be us in a movie. I'll have to check it out sometime.
Yes. Anyway, in this particular game, you have several events that you play in order to beat the Romans. The first event, as you're looking at right here, is Yo-Yo. As you can see, Obelix is quite the master at this.
Oh yes, I really truly enjoy playing with the yo-yo, Asterix.
And the next event we have is the 100-meter race.
Hey Asterix, remember in that movie we made the 12 tests of Asterix and you had to race against that Roman guy?
Oh yes.
Oh, that was fun. And remember how you beat him and then you drank the magic potion and he, fell apart and ran into the tree and all that? It's too bad you can't do that in this game.
Yes, but regardless, it's really fun to run against these guys and leave them in the dust.
Oh, it sure is, Asterix. Maybe next time I could try this event myself then.
Oh, yes. But I really had a lot of fun doing it myself. Look, I'm leaving him in the dust right there.
Yeah, you're quite the fast runner, Asterix. Always have been.
And our final game for today is These Romans Are Crazy for the DS, released in 2009. In a way, it's a remake of the Caesar Challenge board game that Obelix and I played. Instead of rolling dice in this game, however, you actually punch a Roman soldier, and the number of squares that he goes forward are the number of squares you get to move. You're trying to get past the finish line on this one. There are several mini-games along the way. Wild boars actually help get you out of some of those mini-games and some of the disasters. Of course, you know our biggest fear as Gauls is that the sky is falling on our heads, and the best way to stop that is with a wild boar. Really a fun game. I say it's probably just about as much fun as the Caesar game, if not a little bit more, because it's a little bit easier. But yet still, probably I would have to say one of my favorite games that I am featured in. Wouldn't you say, Obelix?
Oh, yes, for sure, Asterix. Oh, you missed the Roman right there. I'm gonna win.
Well, let's find out if you do win. If you'd like to see us play this game in its entirety, head over to Anthony's Patreon page, become a Patreon, and you can see an exclusive video of us playing this game from beginning to end.
Just a quick note for our US fans that are watching this. Several of these games were only released in Europe in PAL format. So if you'd like to play them, you'll have to get them in ROM format, as even if you were able to purchase many of these games, they wouldn't work on a North American television. So I do urge you to try these games out, but make sure that you get them in ROM format so that they can be readily played on any emulator that you choose to use. Personally, I prefer Launchbox, as that is my emulator of choice. It is a multi-platform emulator. I'm able to run my Atari, ColecoVision and Television, PlayStation 1, Commodore 64, Sega Genesis, just to name a few. So do yourself a favor and get Launchbox so that you can have all your emulators under one umbrella. That was very nice. If only they'd pay you to say that. Oh, that's true. So for our fans in Europe and in the rest of the world, I urge you to try these games out if you haven't already. Also, there are several other games that didn't quite make this list for one reason or another, whether they didn't have an English translation or I couldn't find them. There is a large list of Asterix games that are available, so I urge you to try them all out and see what you think. Well, that brings us to the end of today's episode of Classic Gamer 74. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to give us a great big thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and please support us on Patreon. For as little as $1 a month, you can help this channel to grow, as we are looking to get a new camera. Yeah, better than the one we got. Yeah, and a sound system, so please consider helping us out on Patreon. You'll find the link in the description below. Our next episode will be another AVP, Arcade versus Port, except for this one will be what I call AVP Limited, where we will discuss arcade games that had only 1 or 2 ports. And yes, to my loyal subscriber that made the suggestion, one of those games will be Alien versus Predator, so you will not want to miss that. And also this week will be our very first Patreon-backed podcast, so me and the guys will be sitting around talking about whatever comes to mind. So if you'd like to check it out, please become a patron and you will have access to not only this episode, but some other really cool game footage and bonus footage that you cannot find anywhere else. Well, we will see you in the next episode. On behalf of Mumford, I would like to thank Obelix, Asterix, and Getafix for their contributions to today's episode, and we will see each and every one of you in the next episode. Until then, have yourselves a great day. Goodbye. Goodbye, everyone.